Krishna. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So, thank you Ramchandra Prabhu for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna, Mother Rochisa Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Jai. So, today, we have this daily prayer that we do in all of the temples of Srila Prabhupada by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Sri Guru Vandan, the worship of the Sri Guru. We know this. Sri Guru Charana Padma. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Satma. So it's the translation that the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, we can cross over the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is that I can have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet, this is the perfection that will fulfill all our desires. He opens our darkened eyes, fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. It is from him that this ecstatic prem, this love of Krishna, emanates. And if we can catch by him, our ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his wonderful character, devotional character. Our spiritual master is like an ocean of mercy. Ocean of mercy. He's a friend of the poor person like us, like me, Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, we're praying like this. O Master, please be merciful unto me. Give me the shade. Please give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds, upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. So, give us the shade of your lotus feet. Maybe Ramchandra Prabhu, you can change it from give me the shade to give us the shade. Anyway, the meaning we understand. So what does this mean? Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Where I'm living, sometimes very high in the mountains, the continental divide in the Canadian mountains, they call them the Rocky Mountains. In United States, continental divide, and this whole mountain range goes down into South America. They call Andes Mountains. So there's a mountain chain and it divides. Can you imagine for 1 minute that people were coming from the East Coast when America was, of course America was always here. America didn't require us, our forefathers, Europeans, to come and make America. America was doing very nicely for thousands of years that we can't even trace the history, but history books say that we have our forefathers come to and plant their flag, say, for God and for the Queen or King. Anyway, but can you imagine? And then they're taking the land away from the people who have been here for thousands of years and claiming it for themselves. But this is the way to become Lord of all that we can survey. This is the attitude of the conditioned soul in the material world, to take and not to give, but to take. So, can you imagine coming from the East Coast and taking, how they're coming? They didn't have an airplane. They didn't have cars or trucks. They didn't have anything. They had maybe wagon pulled by horse or oxen and going up into these mountains and then over the top to go over to California, where Ronald Singh, Ramchandra Prabhu, he's now there securely, but at that time, so we're up here now at 6,000 feet, 6,000 feet above the level of the ocean. So sometimes it gets very warm in the summertime, New Mexico, in the 90s, close to 100 degrees. So it's very hot. So you look for shade. Please give us the shade of your lotus feet. Looking for shelter from the burning rays of the sunshine. So in the same way, the conditioned soul, and we are a conditioned soul, at least I know I'm conditioned soul, what is the hot rays? Is the rays of the material energy, the rays of Maya, that we are trying so hard in every way possible to be happy in this material world, but we're experiencing threefold miseries and fourfold miseries. Threefold misery is the miseries of the mind and the misery of the body. And then the misery that other living entities are inflicting on our mind and body. And then there's the miseries of nature, miseries of the demigods. But sometimes there is drought, no water, nothing can grow, we can't eat, there's no food. Sometimes there's a flood, so much water that river overflows the banks and washing away everything in its path, houses, everything. So sometimes there's COVID. There are different plagues in history. They're all recorded in the history books. With hundreds of thousands of people dying, plagues. And then sometimes the ocean overflows. The ocean coming onto the shore, whole city is completely underwater. It's a tidal wave, tsunami they call it. So, and this way, volcano. Whole village can be covered with molten lava. Imagine, everyone's trying to take care of the family, take care of the children, making house, making crops, something to eat, and then mountain exploding and molten lava, molten rock so hot that it's all melted and it covers a whole city, whole countryside. And sometimes earthquake, and the earth opens up like a great mouth, and the whole city falls into that great mouth, finished. So these miseries are there, always. But why are they there? So then we have, we're here, we're thinking that we're very important, but actually we're citizens. Citizens, who's the real president, who's the real prime minister, who is really in charge of our welfare? That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And he has his own cabinet, his own group. They're called demigods, the devas. They're all in charge of something for the universal government. And there are rules, just like in your city, my city, where we're living. Of course, we don't live in the city. We're in the forest here. But there's rules by which we have to live. And if we're living according to the rules, then and if we're breaking those rules, then there's some kind of response. We could say, in modern jargon, we say feedback is telling us, are we being pleasing to the authority? Just like if you're in the car and you're driving on the wrong side of the road, or you're going through, you're not acknowledging there's a stop sign, but you go anyways, or a red light, not following, then there's a citation. If the policeman is there, then he's giving you a ticket. So in the same way, if we're living appropriately in this world, according to Vedic teachings of the Vedas, then everything is going nice. Rain is coming at night, sun is coming in the daytime, nice temperature, crops are growing, everything's very nice. But if we're not keeping according to the rule, then we get a citation, comes in the form of a hurricane, tornado, a tidal wave, earthquake, volcano, because we are the citizens here in this material world. Actually, material world is a prison, for we're all just like in every city, there's one prison for those who are breaking the law. So we are all outlaws. Material world is Krishna's prison house for us, because we don't want to acknowledge that Krishna, that he's the boss, and we're the servants. But everyone in the material world, he wants to be the boss. Of course, this makes lots of problems, because it means that we're all in competition. Just like now, there's wars on the planet. We have in Iran, the Israelis, and the United States, and so they're talking that maybe will it escalate? Will it become quiet again? How it will affect everyone's economy, their food supply, their energy supply, their this supply, that supply, and the big men, China, Russia, like that, the United States, everybody is watching everybody, and And usually it is, what makes a person powerful in this world? That a person can become very powerful. Just like Alexander the Great, there's one story that when Alexander the Great was in India conquering, how far to go from Greece or Rome all the way over to India. They can't, it's never enough for a person who wants to be very great, that our country should be the greatest. Then we can exploit every other country. Oh, we can exploit like anything. So then we'll all be very happy. We can, are you calling me? So, so this Alexander the Great was there in India, and he said to one yogi was sitting in the lotus posture, sitting very straight, and Alexander the Great asked him, I'm a very great leader. I've come from another country. Is there anything you would like? And the yogi looked up and said, well, you're blocking the sun. Maybe you can move over a little bit. So they were not so much impressed. Actually, one time there's one story that a man, he had broken the law and maybe done some stealing, taking something that is dishonest, not to touch someone else's property. So he was put before Alexander the Great, and and so then Alexander was acting like the judge, and the man said, actually, there's no difference between you and me. He was going to give a penalty to the thief. So the man said, there's no difference between you and me. And Alexander said, what do you mean there's no? He said, I'm a small thief and you're a big thief. So you're coming here and taking everything that's not yours. I'm taking some little thing, but you're the same as me. So this is how. So Alexander, he could understand this is true. So he gave permission that the man can be free, because he was speaking the truth. That all the political leaders, they're big thief, and they're exploiting the government, the people. Just like there's stories, in America we have what you call gangster. They work outside of the law. There was one big gangster, I'm not remembering his name at the moment, but he said, they are complaining about me. He said, but I'm a businessman. Just like the people who run the government, they are having their business, and I'm having my business. So everyone has a business. Anyway, so here we are, and so many troubles, so many wars, so many problems of nature, forest fires, hundreds of forest fires, burning cities, burning houses. People make a beautiful house, and in one night, when one day, all that's left is ashes. So these are the miseries, fourfold, and the fourfold miseries we haven't even: birth, old age, disease, and then death. No matter how nice we make things for ourselves in this world, I may have lots of wealth. I may be Elon Musk. There are so others, the man who runs Amazon.com, etc., etc. Not millions, billions of dollars, billions, aiming for trillions of dollars. A billion is 1,000 million, and that's a billion, and 1,000 billion is a trillion. So that never enough. Why never enough? Because we're not this body, we're spirit, soul, and no matter how much material things we have, the soul is... So Krishna, he says in Bhagavad Gita, that when we came here, we're immigrants. See, we're immigrants. Just like the President of the United States, he's making trouble for immigrants and trying to deport everybody. So that you can't come here to our country. So completely forgetting that just a couple of 100 years ago, our ancestors came here. Everybody here is an immigrant. But then now they're thinking this is our land. This is the way material people thinking all the time. This is mine, and you can't have. So then we're okay. No matter, I can become the richest man on the planet. I can have big companies. I can have big bank account. I can have anything that money can buy. Anything I can buy. A big house, a big boat. I can have a private airplane. Yeah. But nobody can keep anything, no matter the nicest family. I can have the nicest clothes, the nicest vehicles, the nicest airplane, the nicest everything. So many people cheering for me, worshiping me. But Srila Prabhupada says, then Maya, the material nature comes and says, now it's time, you have to leave. Get out. And he says, but I just have everything set up in such a nice way now. I've worked so hard. I have everything set up the way I'm liking it. And material nature says, no, now it's time for you to leave. Get out. So this is birth, old age, disease, and death. So we threefold miseries, fourfold miseries. So this is to become sober, to see the material world as a source of, what does Srila Prabhupada say? Hard struggle for existence, just to live, hard struggle. So, we're all burning in that hard struggle, trying to make everything very nice, of course. But laws of material nature will not allow it to be very nice. And time will take everything away from us. So, and so many difficulties, every day, so many heart attacks, so many automobile accidents. Sometimes a plane will crash, 200, 400 people. Sometimes there'll be a volcano, sometimes will be earthquake. There's no security in this material world. So therefore, give me the shade of your lotus feet. Protect me. Please protect me from all of this, from all of these material miseries. And actually, for a person who makes spiritual progress, for a pure devotee, there's no misery. It's true. Srila Prabhupada writes in our books that when one becomes a pure devotee, the material miseries have no effect on him. Hot, cold, wet, dry, hunger, thirst, it totally cannot touch him. Sometimes he plays the role that like he's one of us, and but actually he's always inside. He's in a kind of happiness that we cannot comprehend. He's always in blissful Krishna consciousness. So in that consciousness, there's no problem. And Krishna is always making arrangements for his pure devotee. Sometimes he takes the role that he's having difficulty. Just like Lord Jesus Christ, where he has this crucifixion. And Srila Prabhupada is appearing like he's an older person and having some medical problems. But actually, this is all part of Krishna's pastimes. And so that we can learn something. What did Srila Prabhupada do? That he was making like that he cannot, just like it is explained in our books. Srila Prabhupada writes that, how is it? I had a thought, so it just disappears. Now maybe I'm becoming senile. So anyway, sometimes Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is taking the role. Yes. How? That he's being... Oh yes, it says that the perfected yogi, eightfold mystic powers, anima, mahima, and prapti, he can become smaller than an atom. He can walk right through the wall. Pure devotee. Mystic yogi, manima, he can become as big as a mountain. He can make a form, just like in Krishna's pastimes. The demons, they were taking the huge Trinavarta, he took the form of a great whirlwind, a big whirlwind, and then we have Aghasura demon. He's taking the form of a great serpent. It says, the Srimad Bhagavatam says, his lower lip was on the ground, and his mouth was open, that his upper lip was touching the clouds, so big. Putana, when she came to kill Krishna, there's people in this world, and it's not enough that we're rebels against Krishna, but we want to kill him too. So Putana, when she came, disguised herself as the most beautiful woman, but Krishna, and she put poison. Imagine somebody that it's not enough that they don't want to be religious. They don't want to worship God, but they want to become, if they have the opportunity, how I can kill God. That is called demon, Ashura. So Kamsa, he had friends, many friends. They were all Ashura, and they're always thinking how to kill Krishna. So, anyway, here we are. So many problems in this, and the people, they're living under the power of these demons, right? Only for exploiting people. That's all. That's all. The United States has more than 700 military bases all over the world because they want to be in control. Because the big businesses, big corporations, they have investments, how they can exploit everywhere. But the local people, they're not happy to be exploited. So excuse me. So sometimes we have allergies now. That's one of the miseries. So the people don't want to be exploited, so they want to throw the Americans out. So then they need to have military, and they're going to put down the revolution. But in the newspapers and on the television, they're going to say that America is protecting freedom. In this way, they're protecting our freedom. So anyway, this is life in the material world. So everyone is suffering so much. Everyone is just trying how to be happy and survive. But an intelligent person, he will recognize that there's so much suffering in this material world. An intelligent person will see like that. So, and therefore he approaches a real spiritual teacher, a spiritual master, guru. And he says, "Oh, Master, I'm looking for the Kleenex. Oh, Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet." Now, so what is that shade? That facial? Facial? Can I have some Kleenex? So, what is that shade? That if I can have spiritual consciousness instead of material consciousness, then thank you, Hare Krishna. Oh, wonderful. So, excuse me. If I can have spiritual consciousness instead of material as long as I'm in material consciousness, the threefold miseries, the fourfold miseries, they're there. There's no way to avoid. But as soon as we take shelter of Krishna's internal energy, Krishna's devotional energy, immediately we understand knowledge. It's given to us within our heart by Krishna. What is that knowledge? Oh, I have so many problems with this body, so many problems with this mind. So what is that intelligence? What is that knowledge? That one can understand by Krishna's grace that I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. So this, and that the nature of the spirit soul is blissfulness, ananda. That is our real nature. But because we identify with this material covering, body and mind, our hardware, this body, and our software, this mind. So then we're suffering like this. So we're always trying how to make it nice. But we're in the Krishna's prison house for souls who are breaking the law. What is the real law? The real law is that we are all Krishna's loving servants, and that we're part and parcel of Krishna. So like the hand is part of the body, of the whole body, So when the hand gives foodstuff to the body through the mouth, the hand becomes strong and it can do things. And so this is only a metaphor to make an example. Or the leaf is on the tree. Every leaf needs water. The leaves are trying to water themselves, but there's not enough. It doesn't work. And so sometimes one good leaf is trying to water the other leaves, but it cannot really satisfy them. But if one leaf is watering the root of the tree, then all the leaves become happy. So we are like a little leaf and Krishna's the tree. And our business is to water the root of the tree. And then, so if we do, that's called devotional service, bhakti yoga. So to engage in devotional service is our real nature. We're here, it's an insane asylum. Material world is an insane asylum. That someone is thinking, oh, I'm Napoleon, or I'm Alexander the Great, or I'm President Trump, or everyone wants to be very great. So it's an insane, if you go to an insane asylum and you see somebody there and you say, oh, what is your name, sir? He says, I'm Napoleon. They're thinking that I'm a very important person. So we're like that here in this material world. We're here for a few years and then everything gone. Just like you sweep sometimes with a broom the kitchen floor. There's so much dust is accumulated, little pieces of dirt, and you sweep them away and throw them away outside. And that is how we are being treated by the material nature, that we're thinking we're very important, but time comes and we're all swept out and thrown out. But in the meantime, we're thinking I'm very important. So that is insane asylum. So we're in Krishna's insane asylum, spiritual insane asylum, and we're suffering very much because there's no security in this world. At any moment, everything finished. By war, by disease, by nature, whatever. So good fortune, bad fortune. So give us the shade of your lotus feet. That we can't change the nature of the material world. Of course, if we keep all the laws in the kingdom of Maharaj Yudhisthira, nobody knew any anxiety. Everything was so nice because they're keeping the laws of the material world. But we're in Kali Yuga now. So everyone is suffering in so many ways. Everyone is afraid. Everyone locks their door. You can't go to sleep without locking your door. And that's how we live. They have police force, but it's not enough. So everyone is having some kind of injection to stop this disease, that disease. There are hundreds and thousands of medicines on the shelves because people are suffering in so many ways. So intelligent person begins to inquire, why am I suffering? And what is the solution? So the solution is that the material world is what it is, but if one can understand that I'm not part of this material world, that I'm not this body, that I'm spirit soul, and realize, experience the symptoms of the spirit soul when the spirit soul is having his constitutional relationship with God, with Krishna. just like if we're living in the country or in a city, there's a constitution, and everyone knows what are their rights and what are their duties and what are their responsibilities. And as long as we act within that constitutional definition, we're free. And when we break the rules, then the policeman comes and take us to prison. So this material world is Krishna's prison house. And we're here, prisoners. And we're suffering. Prison house wasn't made to make us happy. Prison house was to make us think, maybe I've done something wrong. Then I come to my senses but actually, if you go to the prison house, there are two kinds of prisoners. One kind of prisoner is thinking how I can show the people in control, the authorities, that I am having a change of heart. I want to be a nice person in society, and I want to understand the Constitution. What is my position? So maybe they'll give me parole. It's called parole, that they'll let you out of the prison but you have to report to the parole officer. And if you break that parole, then they put you back. The spiritual master is Krishna's parole officer, and if we're always in touch with him, then we can be free out of the prison. But if we break parole, then we're back in the prison again. So, give us the shade of your lotus feet. So we want to understand the prison is that we are forced to identify with this material body, that this is me, this is who I am. And it's not very comfortable. Actually, there are threefold miseries, fourfold miseries. But a person who understands that I'm not this body, all those miseries are removed. Not only those miseries are removed, but he experiences the joy, the bliss of his spiritual life, Ananda, that is described like a great ocean of happiness, a great ocean of spiritual bliss, and the liberated souls, they're diving and surfacing in this ocean of nectar, called the nectar of devotion. That is so sweet. So we're trying to wake this up again. But how can we wake it up? As soon as we wake up, then we understand, oh, I'm not this body. I'm not part of this material world. And even though one is living in this material world, in a body, it doesn't matter. There's no sense of inconvenience. They don't care for anything. So all they want is to be engaged in like it says in the first page in Nectar of Devotion, that the pure devotee is praying that I don't care even to ask you, my Lord, that to take me out of this material world. I don't even ask for that. I don't care. All I want is to have this sense of being in your service. It's so nice. You can send me to heaven. You can send me to hell. Just let me have this feeling of Krishna consciousness. It's so nice. So, how are we going to achieve this? Then that person, he is protected from Maya's burning rays. This is what we want. So, O Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. So, how does Srila Prabhupada protect us from this this horrific experience is that 8,400,000 species of life and eating each other. Being eaten by each other, being killed in the war, being defeated by disease, old age, again and again, millions of times, until just like Krishna is waiting. He's in our heart. Krishna is in everyone's heart, and he's waiting to see. He's saying, you came here in this material world to try to be a very important person. You wanted to be independent, and Krishna is in our heart, and he's watching. Srila Prabhupada says sometimes the man who has a dog in the city, he takes the dog for a walk, and the dog is is passing on somebody's lawn. He's going to pass urine and pass stool on the lawn, and the man is waiting for the dog. He's considering himself to be a very important man, but he's serving the dog in that way. So Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna, he's in our heart, and he's watching, and he's while we're doing all kinds of things to be happy, and Krishna is watching and waiting, and he's saying, Krishna has a question, are you enjoying yourself? Is it very nice? So Krishna's just waiting for us to say, this is not really working very well. There must be something better than this, and how do I have it? And then Krishna immediately connects us with a real spiritual teacher, according to our sincerity. People are going to all kinds of teachers. Teachers for how to work in the stock market, make money, teachers for how to become a professional plumber, professional builder, a professional doctor, how to become a politician. You can have a teacher for anything. They'll teach you anything. But if we want to, because everyone wants to be happy. So when Krishna sees that we're willing to renounce this idea that I'm a very important person and everyone should love me and everyone should serve me as much as I can make these arrangements, and if they don't like it, then I'll just use a little force. So if we start to give up this attitude and we're willing to understand how infinitesimally small we are, Krishna is in our heart, and he says, oh, this one is responding to the therapy. We're in therapy because really nothing's happening to us at all. It's only because we falsely identify with this body and mind that we're suffering. It's like a bad dream, lifetime after lifetime. But at night when we're in the bed, we have a dream, and then we're thinking, and the tiger is coming to eat us in the dream, and we're shouting in our sleep, help, help, the tiger is chasing me. And then somebody, wake up, there's no tiger. So at night, we have the subtle sleeping dream, and in the daytime, the dream is gross. It's a gross dream, but it's the same thing. We're identifying with something that we're not, but it feels very real. So to get out of that dream, one has to be engaged in Krishna's devotional service. That our constitutional position is that we are become a loving servant of God, a servant of Krishna. So you can say Krishna, you can say Allah, you can say Jehovah, but it's the same person. So we want to, how do we acquire this taste of love of God? Because when we're engaged in pure devotional service, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that the byproducts of being in a devotional frame of the heart, immediately one acquires knowledge and detachment without even trying. The yogi is trying to be, but he's an ascetic, he's doing austerities, how to stop suffering from these senses. Maybe I can become like a stone and I won't feel anything. And they're doing tremendous austerities. The jnani is trying to figure out with great logic what they call knowledge and how to understand that I'm not this. And Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After thousands and thousands of births of trying to figure it all out, then he comes to the conclusion, oh, the solution is that I have to become a devotee. As soon as we become a devotee, knowledge comes, detachment comes, one is free. So Srila Prabhupada says, the Vedic literature says, if after thousands of births of trying to figure this out and becoming a great yogi, a great jnani, a great karmi, that I have to become a devotee. If that, then why not take it up now? Why are you waiting? Why do we have to wait for thousands of births like that? So much hard struggle for nothing. So, because if everyone has to come to the point of devotional service, why not come directly to devotional service? So Krishna is inviting us like that. Just like sometimes somebody has a birthday party, sometimes they have a wedding ceremony, and they send out invitations, and it says, RSVP, respondez s'il vous plaît, right? So Krishna, he sent us this invitation. It's called Bhagavad Gita. And he's saying, please respond. We're inviting you to come to the spiritual world. It's very nice here. Please come. RSVP. So the only way that we can, so how do we acquire this? Our heart is now, we have identification with this mind and body, these senses, and our intelligence is covered by this conviction that, oh, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, that we have this love of Krishna now. He says when the spirit soul comes into the material world, I think it's chapter 3, verse 40, 37, 40, that when he comes in, his eternal love for Krishna, and when it comes in touch with the material mode of passion, it turns into desire for sense gratifications, lust, kama. It's just like if you take a pure white light and shine it through a lens, a red lens, that light will come out red. It's the same light, but now it is acquired in the same way. Our eternal love for Krishna can never be taken from us because it's what we are. But in touch with the modes of passion, it takes on, it's transformed into a desire for sense gratification. So, but we can't be without this love. It's the same love. So we're being taught that it's not that something more is being added to us. It's that this love that we have that is now being focused on illusory objects of affection, it's really meant for loving Krishna, because we're Krishna's part and parcel, and in that way we have a reciprocal relationship. So, under the guidance of a real spiritual master, a pure devotee. So in this prayer, please give us the shade of your lotus feet. How do we get that shade? How do we get something that will stop all these miseries of material existence? We have to have detachment and knowledge and detachment, which are the automatic byproducts, without even trying to be detached, without even renounced, without even the perfection of renunciation is devotional service. What do we have to renounce? We have to renounce the idea that I'm the most important, that I'm God. All of us, we're here in this material world because we have this craziness like that. So that's the perfection of renunciation. We don't have to give up anything except this this deviant mentality. So knowledge and detachment are byproducts of devotion. But where will I get this devotion that will remove our identification with this bad dream that's giving us material misery? So therefore, it said, the lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which we can attain this pure devotional service attitude. We bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. Wow, he can do it. He can give us this free. He doesn't even charge any money. Bow down to him with great awe and veneration. By his grace, if we can receive his grace, by his grace we can cross over this ocean of material suffering and attain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified. He's giving us not only information, but it said that his voice, that he is in touch with Krishna. A real spiritual master is coming to us from the spiritual world, and he's Krishna's intimate associate. And and that Krishna has saffron dust particles on his lotus feet, imagine. And when the spiritual master, who is Krishna's intimate associate, speaks to us, his voice is filled with these saffron dust particles of Krishna's lotus feet. He's sprinkling on us that we're in touch with Krishna by hearing a real devotee. So his lotus, so he says, my only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. Is there anyone in this material world that will come, that if he comes, we want to immediately lie down on the floor and embrace his feet to our heart? So he'll step on us, of course, but the spiritual master, he's only filled with boundless compassion. He only wants to share with us what? Prema bhakti. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya vinashayate. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya vinashayate vedegai yaharacharito. From him, how is he giving us this love of Krishna that will free us, that will protect us from the rays of, oh Master, give me the shade of your lotus feet. How do we get that shade? He's giving us the one thing that will remove the burning rays of Maya, and it's love of Krishna. So where do we get? So he says, from him, prema bhakti, from him this love of Krishna emanates. It's just like a great fountain of love. And he's just filling the universe with his loving feeling for Krishna. He's empowered by Krishna to do this. He's the external manifestation. We call him, what did he say? In the Samsara prayers, it says, second to last verse, that he's to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord, because he has this power. Shaktavesh avatar. Shakti. He has this power from Krishna that he can enlighten us, that he can accept as many Jagat Guru, that he can share this with anyone in the universe who is ready to receive. They can have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada, and he can put into our heart. If our hearts are open, we can begin to understand his feelings of love for Krishna and put that in our heart. Keep that, hold that in our heart. So from him, this love of Krishna emanates, just like the sunshine in the middle of the universe. It fills the whole universe with these rays of light. And in this way, the pure devotee, Krishna's empowered representative, he can fill the whole universe. From him, ecstatic prema, it emanates. And by him, our ignorance is destroyed. How is it destroyed? That if we can catch those rays of love of Krishna and feel in our heart, then this is the relationship we have with the bona fide spiritual master. Is someone who has this love, he can share this. So we have to have, then we can be protected, because as soon as we have this love, a little piece of this love, little taste of this love of Krishna, then Maya lets us go. That's called taking the shade of his lotus feet. We're getting protection by taking shelter of the pure devotee who's come to, just like in the Bible, Jesus says the same thing. He says actually, the examples are given in terms of the culture. If a person is farming, they have the oxen in the field. The oxen is pulling the plow, and the man who is directing the plow and the oxen, he has the reins. He's controlling, and he pulls on the rein. Ha ha ha! And the oxen goes to the right. Hey hey hey! They have words. When I was in India, you could hear them in the fields. Hey hey hey! Hey hey! so the giving and pulling with the rein. So the man who is driving the oxen, who's pulling the plow, the oxen is wearing a big piece of wood. It's called a yoke. And then the reins go through the top of the yoke, through a little metal piece. And that way, So Jesus says that, he says, it's in the Bible. Anyone can read. He says, I'm just like an ox, and I'm wearing this yoke that I'm controlled. And what is that yoke? He says, I'm controlled by love of God. He says, I'm on this yoke and I'm being controlled. He says, please accept the yoke that I'm wearing. It's in the New Testament. Please accept the yoke that I'm wearing. He says, you'll like it. He says, it's so light because you're working so hard now. But if you take the yoke that I'm wearing, you're going to be happy. So he said, this is called the yoke of the... What kind of yoke is that? It's the yoke of love. It's a pure devotional service. That if we take the yoke... So Srila Prabhupada is trying to yoke us up in Krishna's service. Now we're in the service of Maya, and he wants to put us in the service of Krishna. So what we have to do is come so close to him that we begin, is described in the 5th chapter of the 1st canto, in the 25th verse. How do you catch this feeling of love of God? You know, Srila Prabhupada says that how do you catch COVID? If you're in touch with someone who has COVID, intimately in touch, you can catch their disease, whatever it is. And the first line in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, pure devotion to Krishna is as much infectious, in a good sense, just like an infectious disease. You catch it from someone who has it. You become very close to them, and you begin to understand their heart. As soon as you have an intimate relationship with someone, you begin to understand their heart. You know what they're feeling. Empathy. This is transcendental empathy. Subjective. It's subjective means not intellectual. Intellectual, we have concepts. But the heart doesn't have concepts. The heart has feelings. It's called it's subjective. What is your feeling about? Everyone has their own feeling. They say it's subjective. Srila Prabhupada in Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, 1st chapter, verse 47. He says there's 2 kinds of instruction. One spiritual master kind, he's giving objective instruction, and the other spiritual master, he's giving subjective instruction. He says that one spiritual master, he's in meditation within his heart, feeling love for Krishna, and he's sharing that feeling with anyone who's willing to come close enough to him. It's called subjective instruction. These are Srila Prabhupada's words in Adi Lila 147 purport. Subjective instruction. Or subjective instruction, or you call it infection. So in Bhagavatam 1.5.25, Srila Prabhupada says, what is this infection? He said, infection. There's this word imbibe. It means to drink. He says, infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion to Krishna in the association of the real devotee. So we have to cultivate. It's one thing to follow the objective instructions, but what we really need, more than anything else, is to become infected with Srila Prabhupada's feelings of love for Krishna. That's what a guru does. That's what he's sharing with us, love of Krishna. The process that we do, hearing, chanting, remembering, etc., these are the channels through which we cultivate these feelings. But the feeling itself is only given by, so that means we have to be always under the shade of his lotus feet. To be experiencing the shade of his lotus feet means to be taking from him the taste of love of Krishna and holding it in our heart, and then filling all our devotional activities with that feeling in our heart. This is called engaging in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. That's what it means. That under his guidance, he's guiding us how to feel devotion, and we're engaging under his direction. So this is the process of how we can be, oh Master, be merciful. So we pray for that. Please give me the shade of your lotus feet. It means, please let me understand the devotion that you hold in your heart, so I can hold that in my heart. That we have to pray for that. That's why that is the last line in our daily prayer. O Master, be merciful unto me. Give us the shade. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. From you this love of Krishna emanates. If I can get a little taste of it, my ignorance will be destroyed. Okay? So then this means that we have to cultivate a living relationship with Krishna's pure devotee. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you for letting me talk to you like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Thank you, Ishan Prabhu, for the wonderful class discussion. Mother Rachisha, do you have any comments, questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Very nice sharing today through the, I think, is the experience you have with the devotional service and relation you have with Srila Prabhupada. I had the fortunate chance to associate with a good devotee, is Aprakrita Das from Montreal a few years ago, and he used to say, we have nothing to do here. And I was always surprised when he says that, but it's a fact. And all those miseries, people are thinking they are happy, and it's very hard for them to understand that we are suffering, because they make everything, but they're working very hard to trying to be happy. And it's true that when we surrender to Srila Prabhupada, it's become very more easy to understand that we are in a bad dream. Thank you very much, Ishan.
Thank you, Prabhu. Sincerely, I can talk like this because you give me permission. That's true. It's true. You can only talk like this with devotees.
Only.
And so we all need each other's association in this way. Yeah. And so thank you.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu. So we'll continue the discussion next week. If anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to contact Ishan Prabhu. His email is in the description and in the title of the videos. Ishan Prabhu, thank you, Mother Ochisa, for joining. Ishan Prabhu and anyone else who's watching. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Ramchandra,
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.